It's 8 o'clock now on Wednesday. I just spent a nice pleasant hour just lying there as the sun goes down behind the trees. Anyway, for the time being, I'll say good night from day 6 of the Thankful Villages tour. The Thankful Villages part will finish tomorrow, and then it's beach and ice cream time all the way up to Great Yarmouth. Anyway, good night. See you tomorrow, day 7. Hello, good morning. It's just gone 7 a.m. on day 7 of my Thankful Villages cycle tour. I think today is Thursday. You really lose track of time and dates when you're on the road. I said to my wife on the phone the other day, is it Tuesday today? Even she had to check. Last night I tried an experiment. I'll turn the camera around and try and explain what I did. I came in that way. There's loads of fields here. I kind of did a recce as I came in. I knew I wanted a bit of shade from the sun, and so I was able to get that over by that tree there, because it was still very intense when I got here and put the tent up. Everything was hot, and then I just thought, why not try putting the tent in shade in the morning so it doesn't catch the sun first thing in the morning. I know it's going to cause problems packing up with dew and everything, and it worked actually, because last night I was so tired. I laid out here on my mat just chilling out, watching the sun go down, and at 8:30 I was just so tired. I just literally went to bed, and I woke up at 1 minute to 6. I know that, so I checked my phone. So that's nearly 10 hours sleep, isn't it? I was shattered, and I think probably what helped was not being waken up by sunlight, because most mornings this trip I've been woken up about 3:45 in the morning, not just by the dawn chorus, but by light flooding in the tent. I think it's your brain just naturally sort of thinking it's daylight, you need to wake up. There may have been a dawn chorus, I don't know, but the melatonin or whatever it's called, is it the melatonin, that the sleep hormone, just didn't activate. It just, I slept right through until I felt like waking up, and I woke up in shade, not even knowing what time it was, and I checked my watch and I said it's nearly 6 o'clock. I mean, last few nights I've been up before 4 o'clock just because it's been so light, so I think I may try that again tonight. I had such a good night's sleep, it's just unbelievable. The plan today is just to carry on. It's less than 10 miles, about 9.4 I think, to go to the final Thankful Village when I turned in here. I know that because part 2 of the GPS track, part 2 of my complete route, will finish then, and then I'll start part 3. So I'm going to carry on up north to the Thankful Village, St Michael, St Elmham I think it's called. It's quite a mouthful. After that, I'm not going to rush it, but after that I'm going to head slightly south-eastish down to the coast at Southwold. I went there a few years ago and it's really nice, and I didn't really have long enough there to look around. There's also a First World War pillbox just out of town actually, and I just want to do some beach sitting, just staring out at the sea, having an ice cream, maybe getting fish and chips or something. And then there's a campsite just north-west of Southwold, so that's what I'm going to aim for tonight. So mileage wise it'd be a shortish day. I've still then got Friday, Saturday and Sunday just to get 20 miles up the coast to Great Yarmouth, so you can see the rest of the trip's going to be a little bit of meandering and seaside and ice cream type of ride. This Croft campsite is so nice. It's just perfect really. I'll show you around a little bit just because it's just so nice. It's big, but it's set up just the way I like them. There's a little bit of glamping there with a gazebo and a camping pod, which are quite popular these days. I've never stayed in one, but I've seen them a lot, and to be honest it quite appeals to me if me and Linda came camping. There's a toilet block and a shower block. Really nice. Something really nice just happened to me. Let me just show you around. So last night I was quite hot and sweaty. All I wanted to do was have a shower once I'd put the tent up, and there's this really nice shower room here, just a 4-corner sink down into the middle, and it's one of these showers. It's preset. You just press the the plunger button. You don't have to worry about settings and all that. It's got a tray in there, which is, you know, ideal. Put me soap and shampoo in there last night. Me being tired, I forgot it. This morning I came out and she'd put the soap on her, a bit of tissue there, and my shampoo. I mean, that's common sense, isn't it? They know I'm going to need the loo first thing in the morning. This is just so nice. I've mopped it down as well, just because, well, when it's so nice, you want to leave it nice, don't you? I'm going to go round and thank her in a little bit for doing that, because that's a nice gesture. I'd have got to my campsite tonight and not had any soap or shampoo. I saw this, Somerset and Dorset Railway. Wonder if him or her are a railway buff. Again, I'll mention that because I've ridden along the Somerset and Dorset Railway almost its entire length, about 2/3 of it, quite a few times. I live not far from the two tunnels, so who knows, maybe interested in that. See, there's fields everywhere, and if it was raining, look, there's a big kids activity barn there. Swings. Oh, this is just so nice. And you just come along a very minor road and you pull into a gravel track and it says please booking at reception. So, you know, they're telling you they want you to see them first, and it's not a big fancy office, it's just somebody's lean-to. It's almost like a conservatory that's just got all this really nice, welcome, friendly books everywhere. They put tea and coffee out, squash for visitors. Oh, she's just so nice. This is a real good find, actually. So I've got to try and get my brain out of there. You've got to pack up and be on the road mode, because I need to really sort of drop some distances in the next couple of days. I think that's the problem with things like Strava, is although I'm not a competitive cyclist and I don't give two monkeys about performance, it really is just to log my rides. And what I love most about Strava is seeing what my friends are up to. One guy's cycling down the coast of France, and just, you know, my friends, I like sort of seeing where they've been, and, you know, sometimes I'll track them and sort of say, oh look, they stopped there, I wonder what was there. And when you zoom in, you'll find there was a pub or a cafe. I just like that sort of thing. I hope it's not stalking, it's genuine interest. I couldn't give a monkey's about how fast they go or what mileage they did. I do suspect it influences my rides, actually, which is why I sort of think, oh yeah, I've done 50 miles today, I'm quite chuffed with that. And like today, I don't want to do anywhere near that distance. I'm really going to have to talk myself down and just really stop in Southwold a long time. As I said, I just want some ice cream, sit on the beach or sit above the beach looking out to sea and just really enjoy a glorious Suffolk day. Anyway, I haven't cleaned my teeth yet because I'm going to have another cup of coffee and gradually start doing me packing up. I'm now about 4.4 miles from my final Thankful Village. Before I left the campsite, I wanted to go over and just say to the owners just how much I liked it and to thank them for a nice stay, and also just to thank them for putting my shampoo and my soap near the toilet window. I mean, it's just well thought out, isn't it? It's obvious that's what you're going to need next morning. And she sort of said, oh yeah, and I sort of said, oh, just thank you so much. You know, my wife says if I had a brain I'd be dangerous, and her husband said, yeah, I'm just saying, don't worry. Anyway, they asked me where I was going, told him about Thankful Villages. He said, oh, what's that? So he's really interested, and he's asking me, are there any others in Suffolk? And I was telling him. That was really nice. I saw that Somerset and Dorset railway plaque, so I asked him about that, and he sort of said they picked it up at an auction or a car boot sale or something, and he thought it was original, and he just liked the wording of it, and he since found out it's a fake, but he still keeps it just because it's just quite humorous, actually. So that was really nice. So I was telling him I live right next to the old Somerset and Dorset railway, and it just made me think of home, so that was really nice. When I left, I started seeing on these lanes road closed signs. One driver sort of said to me, oh, I haven't seen anything, so I carried on hoping I'd get through, and then I got to a bit where it really was fenced off, and I just walked through and saw some guys working on the electricity system. So I said, is it okay if I walk through? I'm on a sat-nav, I don't know the area. And they said, yeah, sure, that's no problem. And then I just came down to a junction back there a few hundred yards, and there was a car stopped, not parked, and they just wound the window down. Nice old couple, and they just sort of said, oh, can you help us? can you get through that way? And I sort of said, no, you won't get a car through. They were good enough to let me walk through. And she sort of said, this is our 4th road closure this morning. And I said, I don't know the area, so I'm sorry, I can't be more helpful. And they sort of said, oh, you are helpful actually, because we were just about to go up there, so we now know not to. So that was nice. Anyway, lovely countryside. I'm actually really falling in love with this part of the country, Suffolk, Norfolk. I just love it over here. I'm homing in on my destination. I'm loving these village signs. This is Rumburg, I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. That couple that asked me help earlier on, they said they live round there and it's a forced diversion and road closure they come to this morning, and they were getting confused. I could see them looking at his sat nav. And I've just had another one. Again, they were trenching, they had the road closed so vehicles wouldn't get through, but they were good enough to let me walk through. You can see there St Michael, 1 mile. Rumburg Street, St Lawrence, Wishet, Halesworth. So about a mile to go to our thankful village on another cooking morning. I'm homing in on my destination. The track I'm showing you now is part 2, so it's going to end very shortly. And if I compare it to that one, that's got the whole of the route on, Bath to Great Yarmouth. So I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's taken me up to that church by the look of it, and then I'll come back and go back that way towards the coast. But this one here is going to suddenly end in a minute, then you'll hear the cheesy little jungle. There's something really nice about reaching the end of a track. You get the little tune. I think it's dopamine. It's goal achieving, isn't it? That's where I must have routed the GPS track to, the church. It's the most obvious place to find the slate plaques. Haven't seen any indication that I'm in a village. There you see the line's going to end. There's the cursor where I am, and then the line is going to end by that church. That's what I do on wet January Saturday afternoons. I'll sit on my Chromebook and work all this out. And it's going to stop just here. In fact, it looks like it stops about there. That's close enough. Oh, let's hope there's some shade in there actually. St Michael, South Elnham. Can you hear that ping? It just tells me I've gone off course a little bit. Oh, nice bit of shade there. St Michael's Church. Wonder if it'd be open. The lady last night when I checked in, she said we can charge power packs here, your mobile phone, if you want to leave it with us. Anything else you want? I said, oh, I might come back and take you up on that. She said, just let us know. And then I realised I charged things up so well at that church yesterday, I didn't need to actually. Then have a look around. Oh look, there's the Boundary 500 sign. Lots of information. I'm going to come back and read all that at the moment. I just really hope I can get in that church. It'd be such welcome shade if I can. I might contact John when I get home. He was the one that told me about Boundary 500 and sort of see if they'll let me join actually. I'm not a motorcyclist, but who knows. Oh, what a beautiful, peaceful spot. Seat in the sun there, that's going to be far too hot. Can I get access? Well, the porch is open. Please, please, please be open. Yes. Yes, it's open. Oh, so cool. And there's the plaque. Straight away spot the plaque. Oh, that's nice. Here lie the bodies of Henry lone gent who departed this life 24th of November 1727, and also Rebecca, his wife, daughter of Timothy Weld, gent, who departed this life 4th of December 1735. Gosh, walking over people's graves, it just always feels a little bit not right somehow. Okay, let's do some business. Visitor's book, but first off, go and pay my respect at the Thankful Villagers plaque and leave my poppy. You can see its lovely whitewashed walls, plastered walls. Amazing font there. Is that octagonal? And there's the plaque set in this recess. Wow, these are lovely. St Michael, South Elmham, 1914 to 2014, and Thankful Village. And there's my poppy, I've just hooked it around. This is a beautiful church. I'm going to just spend about an hour here, I think, just relaxing and just enjoying this lovely church. The wall, south wall, looks like it's leaning slightly. I'll read up a little bit about the church. Lovely simple nave. Almost like Victorian pews, aren't they? Oh, there's the Roll of Honour. There's the Roll of Honour for the village who fought in the First World War, 1914 to 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and they all came back safely. Look, poppies there. And there's the Roll of Honour, those who fought in the Second World War. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm not sure if this is a doubly thankful village. So a thankful village is a village where every person who went off to serve in the First World War returned safely alive. There's 57 of them in the country. That's what I make it. No matter what source you go to on the maps, it varies. Some are as low as 30 something. But I've cross-references all my sources and checked it against the Hellfire website, and I make it 57. And I said to John last year when I bumped into him up in Westmoreland, I make it 57. And he said the guy that runs the Boundary 500 Club, he makes it 57, and he's very well informed. Doubly thankful villages, that means every person who went off to serve in the First and the Second World War returned safely. I think it's in double digits, it's in the teens, it's 12, 14 or 16 I think. But there's a village in France, in Normandy, I can't remember its name, I'll put it on the screen now, where every person who went off to serve in 5 wars returned safely. And the wars were, if I remember correctly, it's the Franco-Prussian War, the First World War, the Second World War, French Indochina, what we know as Vietnam, and I think the last one was the Algerian conflict. Raised pulpit, I love these old churches. Just takes you back in time. No stained glass. Just allows light to flood in. This is just such a wonderful place to finish this part of the trip. As usual, looking at the visitors book, so today's the 19th. The last visitor was, well, a week ago, the 12th. The last visitor to sign, anyway, not saying that's the last person to come. Something Norwich, can't read all of these. West Yorks, London, Norfolk. And I've just put 19th 6th, Anglesey, Bath Sunset. The poppy man who visits thankful villages and leaves a knitted poppy at each. I just need to show you this location. There was no indication of a village whatsoever, no boundary sign, that's how remote it is. There's a big water tower over there. There's a couple of houses scattered about. It's a very small settlement. just so typical of Suffolk. The sky is huge. I can see why John Constable got inspiration. The inspiration I've had actually is I've had that Kate Bush song going around my head, the big sky, the big sky. That was, I just couldn't stop humming it. It was like an earworm yesterday. It's a lovely song, but I'll always think of this trip when I hear that song in future. Let me just show you the church and the churchyard. Wonderful bell tower, west bell tower, south facing porch, nave, chancel, the classic. But the garden's really wild, which should I say the churchyard is a real wild garden. Said this before, but if you ever see what looks like unkempt churchyards, it's part of the church's wildlife project, because lots of habitats, it's a fantastic habitat which has been threatened in many other parts of the country, you know, through agriculture and just development, that sort of thing. And you know, we need houses, we need farmland, but churchyards are quite often left wild. You can sort of see the footpaths being kept clear. What's lovely here is it's got a seat round all sides. If you want the sun, it's there. If you want the shade, there's even a seat on the north side. So it may look untidy, but it's actually specifically been left like this to encourage a habitat for wildlife. North wall, look, gosh, looks like there used to be a north entrance, north porch possibly. God, the wall looks like it's been rendered a little bit with cement. Oh, this is just such a fantastic location to finish this part of the trip. A little brick outhouse over there, water butt. As so often here, there's bricks being feathered into their mortar and what almost looks like pebbled stonework. I've loved the churches over here. This one is one I could easily have slept in the porch. Although having said that, I've really been enjoying my camping. Gosh, look at the window in the bell tower, bricked up. Gosh, that'd be the chancel window. Very sunny round here. Wildlife everywhere. South facing seat. Next to clergy entrance into the chancel. In memory of Alan Mackay, church warden here for over 40 years, 1933 to 2023. Wow. I could spend hours here. I can feel the coastline calling actually, and some ice creams. And also, I'm completely out of food. I didn't realise till last night. I finished all my chocolates and my biscuits. I had an all-day breakfast this morning, boiling the bag. When I went to thank the people for the stay, I noticed they did breakfast there as well. If I'd known that, I'd have gone over and ordered it, because it had just been so nice to support them. Such a lovely couple, really. I can't recommend that campsite highly enough. Oh, let me show you that sundial up there. It says, "Why stand gazing? Be about your business. Only count the sunlit hours." I love that. This is just a wonderful, wonderful place. Even a seat out here at the end of the drive. St Michael's Church notice board. There's the Thankful Villages Boundary 500 sticker. That's their version of my poppies. St Michael's Green. The green is first mentioned in 1321 when it was called, well, I'll show you that word there. I can't begin to pronounce that. This means the green with the Huss house and the Haggy. I can't pronounce those words. It was not called St Michael's Green until the 16th century. Grazing rights on the 20.5 acres of this common pasture belonged to the houses surrounding it. St Michael's Green is unusual in having the parish church on its edge I feel akin to them, I really do. St. Michael. A few years ago, there's a series of YouTube videos on my channel. I followed this trail visiting all the First World War remaining pillboxes in East Anglia. I forget how many there were, but that was great. Those circular and hexagonal, which I was unaware of until I'd seen Tom Outdoors, a YouTube guy I follow. He went to visit one because he's like me, he likes his history. And I thought, that's unusual, didn't know there were any over there. And of course, the threat in the Second World War was on the south coast, but in the First World War, either invasions or naval raids, incursions, it was on the eastern coast. And so there was all these pillboxes there, hexagonal and circular, which is unusual because all the ones around my way are like square, rectangular shapes. So I followed that, and I remember camping on the beach just up from Sizewell Nuclear Power Station on a lovely June evening, and then the next morning I got the ferry across to Southwold, and it was a guy in a rowing boat. He rowed us across. He had bike and everything. I mean, he's bronzed and fit looking and all that. That's what he did for his living in the summer anyway. And I went to Southwold because there was one of these pillboxes on the outskirts I wanted to go and visit, and I remember thinking, I must come back here one day and linger. So that's what I intend to do today. I'm going to go to Southwold, have a really good look round, lots of ice cream, stock up on supplies, and then head up to a campsite later this afternoon, early evening. I first heard of Southwold as a geeky teenager, about 13, 14. I loved Upstairs, Downstairs. It was a period drama of the Edwardian era on ITV, I think it was, and my brother sort of said, "Oh, what are you watching that for? You know, you sad git," or something like that. And even my parents sort of said, "Oh, I'm surprised, you know, you like watching things like that." I said, "Yeah, I love it," and I actually loved that programme. And the gentry would always go to Southwold for their holidays, and I always thought, "Oh, I wonder where Southwold is," and the name kind of stuck. And then when I went there, I thought, "Oh, I can see why they would come here for their holidays." I loved it, and it was a brief visit, so I just want to spend more time there today. Just, yeah, this has just been, I can't put it into words, it's just been everything I wanted and more. Although the lanes are really quiet with occasional traffic going by, it's mostly agricultural stuff as well. I'm now on this farm track. I seem to remember there was some off-road actually soon after the turn. Well, this is soon after part 2 ended and part 3 started. Had a very pleasant lunch stop in Halesworth, stocked up on supplies. Strawberries were absolutely wonderful. I've got a bottle of water there just in case it gets really hot. Still got both water bottles almost full. And Southwold, I believe, is about 4.5 miles away, so I'm quite looking forward to getting to the sea. Right on the outskirts of Southwold, I've just dropped down off that B road and I'm on this A road coming into Southwold. It's even got a cycle designated lane along it. Just about to cross this bus break, Mike's Bridge. You may see halfway over the bridge there's a sign saying Southwold. That gap in the railings over there is where I'm going to go. Because that, ladies and gentlemen, is a First World War pillbox, circular. I seem to remember this is quite damaged, in poor condition. Yeah, it looks really, really overgrown. Oh gosh, it's been infilled. Last time I was here, you could actually go inside and you could see people had been in there with beer cans and everything, but you can see whether that's been deliberately done now. I'd imagine it is to support it. You can get an idea of the thickness though, can't you? So you can see firing points. Get myself a stick up. When I did my pillbox trail tour, this was one of the worst conditioned ones. So down my way, Bath, Somerset, you'll see lots of pillboxes and anti-tank ditches. There were these stop lines in case the Germans invaded on the south coast and they could not be stopped at the beaches. They would have all these defensive stop lines up the country, and there was, I think we're on the green stop line. It spanned the width of the country virtually. They tend to be brick or concrete, but you'll see that they're square basically, whereas these are circular or hexagonal, which is what really caught my interest. Reading up about them, I remember a few facts actually which are worth sharing. They were quite often built in pairs, so where you see one you'll see another close by. We'll be going past a pair tomorrow, a pair of hexagonals actually, and it was to provide covering fire, but it'd be crossfire to have the maximum effect, killing effect. And there were two lines. There were a line along the coast. A lot of those have fallen into the sea, although some of them are still there. And also there was an inland line, a bit like the stop line in the Second World War. And they were quite often by rivers, at bridges. And that's exactly why this is here, on the outskirts of Southwold. One other fact about the pillboxes I remember reading up that struck me as strange was the last one, I can't remember which one it was, I think it was on the coast, that was actually constructed in 1918, July 1918. When you think about it, the armistice occurred in November. That's a bit like Dad's army going on full alert, isn't it, in February 1945. Wouldn't have happened. Well, I've made it Bath to the East Anglian coast, Southwold Pier. In fact, I came down that road right into it. Just had an ice cream by the pier. I'm just going to walk along the seafront now, and there's a campsite here by the look of it. If I just walk along the prom over that way. I was going to go around there to have a look at the river estuary. And then when I checked the camping app, I saw there was a campsite there. That's the ferry I got across before, because I beach camped, wild camped over there somewhere, and then got the ferry across the next morning, then rode round here. So that's the plan for tonight, and I think I'm going to get fish and chips rather than cook tonight. Well, got to Southwold Pier. It's a lovely day. I've been looking forward to an ice cream all trip at the seaside, so I had to have a 99 soft scoop. And then I started seeing people eating fish and chips, so went and got myself fish and chips and sat on this table. Made a new friend here. Haven't given him any because it just encouraged him, wasn't it? And I'm going to just gradually walk along the seafront and find that campsite. I may just go and find a little shop for us. I won't need any hot food tonight, I hope not anyway, but I wouldn't mind a couple of bottles of beer just to chill out with tonight. I haven't fancied it the whole trip, but today, especially being near the sea, there's a bit of a breeze coming off, so it doesn't feel quite as intense here. There's a lot of pink bodies walking around though, because you know what sea air is like. So I've always wanted to come back here and just take it all in and savour it. See, it's a lovely resort, isn't it? That pier, it's almost like the Stave Chapel over there, isn't it, at the end? Yeah, I really do fancy spending the night here actually. That was really nice. I thought I'd just walk along the upper cliff here, just taking the sea air, just the atmosphere and the views. There's this couple there, probably about my age, in their 60s. So, you know, where are you heading, mate, with all that? I had a bit of a chat with them. He said, which way did you come? I said, well, a bit of an unusual way, because I'm a bit of a history geek, I've been visiting places of interest. Well, I said I'm heading up to Great Yarmouth. He sort of said, oh, my wife comes now, I'm actually from Lowestoft. And I said, oh, I'm going to Lowestoft as well. They started telling me all these great facts actually. I've got to try and remember them while they're fresh in my mind. He was sort of saying Great Yarmouth was famous for having a pub and a bookies in every street. you know, when bookies were illegal, it had to be done. Quite often they would be on the pub, probably back of the pub. He said, but even now you'll go around the street, especially in the working areas, and there'll be a pub, still a pub on every street. And she was saying there's a statue of Nelson there facing inland. He was supposed to be facing out to sea, but they put him on the wrong way back, so I've got to go and try and find that. And then he was sort of saying, oh, Lowestoft, if you want to go to Nest Point, furthest point east. And I said, oh, well, I'm going there. And he said it used to be somewhere else. He didn't tell me what it was called. He sort of said, but because of the coastal erosion, it got moved inland slightly. And so now Nest Point is the most furthest point east in the country. But they think that may be overtaken, because although erosion's cutting land away, it's dumping the sand in other places. And he said there's a place near Kessingland where it's actually expanded and it may go out and overtake Nest Point. So Nest Point may not be the furthest point east of the country for that much longer. That's great. Just lovely having a chat with a couple like that. It's so nice and so interesting. Hello, good morning. It's now Friday the 20th of June. I've been on the road a week now. So I went to a Tesco, picked up a couple of bottles of beer, and then I came down to this campsite. I think it's going to cost me a bit when I check out, because when I arrived the office was closed, but it's really good actually, because you can see it's quite busy around here. Caravans and tents. Hello, morning. You can see it's quite busy around here, tents and caravans. But for later arrivals, they've got a daily sheet up. It tells you which pitches are available, and please would you pay in the morning, which I'm going to do. I think it's going to be a bit pricey because this is Southwold, everything's pricey here. The fish and chips are really expensive, but I enjoyed them, I don't care. I got my tent set up. You'll probably see I've done my washing, getting that drying in the sun. Just lied on my ground sheet here last night. I had a couple of bottles of beer, that was nice. And then went down to the harbour just as the sun was really sinking, the whole sky was orange. That was absolutely amazing. I'll put some pictures up about that. I'll put some pictures of that up. That was just absolutely amazing last night, looking back up the beach towards Southwold Pier. What I can't get over this site is there's literally dozens and dozens and dozens of hares just running around, sharing the campsite with everybody. They encourage wildlife here as well. They let some of the bushes wild over. You know, they ask you not to go in there, it's deliberately wilded. I've never seen hares up that close. Round my way, rabbits everywhere. You occasionally may see a hare running across a cornfield or something, but here there's literally dozens and dozens of them, and they just come up with the tents. I think they're probably used to being fed actually, so that was just, I just couldn't stop staring at them last night. I think today I'm going to really amble, not leave here until quite late. If it's going to cost me a lot of money, I think I'm going to sort of have every pound of it, and then just wander up the coast very gradually, going into, I'm going to wander up the coast very gradually, because I'm only about 12-15 miles from Great Yarmouth here, and I don't have to be there till Sunday evening. So I think I'm going to go up the coast and go down to some dead ends and explore some little coves, that sort of thing. I'm going to make it up as I go along actually today. Well, it's just gone 9 AM. I packed up for the day and I've just left the campsite. I've been and paid. I was really surprised. He said £18, 1/8. I thought it was going to be a lot more than that, and I was happy to pay it as well because it's a really nice site. He sort of said, oh, I'll give you the Ramblers rate. We're £18. Today I've got bags of time. It's so nice talking to people who have other ideas, because this guy came up to me this morning at the campsite asking about my trip, and I sort of said, oh, how about you, you know, what are you here for? And he sort of said, oh, it's the solstice tomorrow. I sort of said, oh yeah, that's right, 20 to 4 in the morning, isn't it? So I'd looked it up this morning. He said, oh, that's right, yeah, we all come over here for Nest Point. We're the first people to sort of see the sunrise on the solstice. He said, we've been coming over 25 years to do it. I went, oh right, so he kind of planted a seed in my head. I was going to go inland tonight, but I think I may well try and camp on the coast.